President Muhammadu Buhari calls on leaders of the various Chadian political factions to show restraint and patriotism in the ongoing transition to democracy in their countries. Plus, Nigeria and India signs memorandum of understanding to partner on meteorological science, technical research and development. These and more we'll bring to you shortly on Panorama. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ruth Aguela. President Muhammadu Buhari has called on leaders of the various Chadian political factions to show restraint and patriotism by immersing themselves in the ongoing transition to democracy in their countries. This was when the country's transition president and head of government, General Muhammad Idris Deby Itno, who visited him on the sidelines of the ongoing UN conference on the least developed countries holding in Doha, Qatar. State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports.
The Chadian leader, General Muhammad Idris Deby Itno, is visiting President Muhammadu Buhari to formally congratulate him on the successful conduct of the presidential and National Assembly elections, which produced his party member as the next president. He is also here to once again show appreciation to the president for the support Nigeria continues to provide him and indeed his country as they undertake the ongoing transition to democracy.
He briefed Mr. President on the efforts that they were making to stabilize the situation in Chad. He said that there are about 50 military groups, political groups, and that out of the 50, 40 of them have now joined the peace process, transition process, that there were still 10, and that, he's still talking to them, and hopefully they will soon join the transition process. So he's quite happy with the developments and briefed Mr. President on that. And he also thanked, of course, Mr. President for all the support and the very important role that Nigeria has played in helping to achieve this level of stability in the country.
President Muhammadu Buhari said as close neighbor, he has been monitoring developments in Chad and sympathizes with the transition president over the inherited political and security challenges bedeviling the country.
To that extent, Mr. President also committed to, supporting as much as we can those challenges that are faced. But of course, Nigeria also, as a developing country, faces its own developmental challenges. But it's important, we feel, that we work together, being in the same sub-region. And also he talked about the multinational joint task force, and there's going to be joint operations this year with the Nigerian contingent, the Chadian contingent, and the Cameroonian contingent, so helping to reinforce the alliance in the fight against terrorism in our sub-region.
Their discussions also centered on the instability in Libya and how small arms and light weapons are proliferating and adversely impacting on the security situation in the entire Sahel region. From Doha, State of Qatar, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Back home, Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Onyema has restated Nigeria's commitment for inclusion into G20, including other AU member states. The minister made this known at the just concluded G20 Foreign Ministers meeting in Delhi, India. Garba Natala reports.
Addressing the G20 Foreign Ministers meeting, Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Onyema indicated Nigeria's interest of becoming a member of the G20 in the nearest future. Equally, the minister called for other reforms in the United Nations and its agencies to effectively confront global challenges. Tagged Our Earth, One Family, One Future, the meeting takes into cognizance the significance of protecting the environment. Meanwhile, Geoffrey Onyema had a bilateral meeting with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as well as the U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken.
Nigeria and India have signed a memorandum of understanding to partner on meteorological science, technical research and development. NIMET Director General Professor Mansur Matazu signed the MOU on behalf of the federal government. During the recent Executive Council meeting of the World Meteorological Organization held in Geneva, Switzerland, Minister of Aviation, Senator Hadi Sirika, who oversaw the signing ceremony alongside the Indian High Mission to Geneva, said the MOU marked another milestone in the unprecedented growth of NIMET under the Buhari administration. He said the event was also a great testimonial to the global leadership of NIMET within the world meteorological community attained during the tenure of Professor Mansour Matazu as Director General. Professor Mansour said the main objective of the proposed collaboration is to provide bilateral relations between NIMET and its Indian counterpart towards meteorological development in both countries. Methodist Church Nigeria now has a new Archbishop of Abuja, and he is the Most Reverend Michael Akinwale. Vice President Professor Yemi Oshibajo, who witnessed the enthronement, advised the new Archbishop to let his voice be heard and his leadership seen where there is injustice, deprivation or lack. Let's hear details from State House correspondent Jide Onifade.
The Archdiocese of Abuja. Here before you is your Archbishop.
Prelate of the Methodist Church Nigeria, Oliver Ali Abba, presenting the new Archbishop of Abuja, Most Reverend Michael Akinwale, to the congregation. The enthronement is to give effect to the resolutions of the 48th and 13th Biennial Conference of Methodist Church Nigeria that took place on the 14th of August 2022.
I shall perform all my duties as the Archbishop of Abuja in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution of Methodist Church Nigeria.
The church found Reverend Akinwale to be worthy spiritually and in character, as well as in the knowledge of the Word of God.
As His Eminence, the Prelate of the Methodist Church Nigeria, sat you on the throne, I knew that you were not blinded by the pomp and pageantry of this great occasion, but that you see this as a call to the service of God and man, and a responsibility of awful moment in our troubled country and our troubled world. Indeed, the office means that your voice must be heard and your leadership seen where there is injustice, where there is deprivation or lack.
Another member of the church, Sir Kayode Beckley, was also appointed and invested for the office of lay president of the Archdiocese of Abuja. In Abuja, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Vitafoam Nigeria PLC has rewarded its shareholders with dividend payout of 1.9 billion naira, translating to 1.52 per ordinary share of 50 kobo each for the year 2022. This was unanimously agreed upon at the group's 61st annual general meeting in Lagos. Kende Adebisi reports.
Gathered in this all are board members, shareholders and other stakeholders of Vitafoam Nigeria PLC, one of the leading manufacturers of flexible, reconstituted and rigid foam products, with the largest foam manufacturing and distribution network in West Africa. They have gathered to evaluate the performance of the company in the year ended 2022. Despite the pitfalls of the year under review, Vitafoam Nigeria PLC, according to the Chairman Board of Directors, has maintained an impressive growth, with the company's turnover from 35.4 billion naira in 2021 financial year to 46.3 billion naira in 2022.
The result is still quite impressive enough to excite the shareholders. And as we mentioned during the proceeding, the subsidiaries that have been set up are now yielding multiple dividends for the parent company. And in spite of all the difficulties around, because of these subsidiaries, the fortune of the company is just getting better and better.
What has happened to date is that doing all of that has helped to manage our expenses, and that's why we're posting the reports we're posting. It's principally innovation all through what we do, whether it is in production, it doesn't matter, whether it is in management of the staff, it doesn't matter, what we do is that we are always innovating new ways of doing things.
Bottlenecks encountered by shareholders while claiming their shares topped the agenda. It was agreed that utmost caution should be applied in handling the situation.
We expect that Vitafoam will do more. Whatever is the magic you are using to achieve this, please continue to use it. I am here principally to appreciate the company for the respect they have for shareholders.
In the last 60 years, Vitafoam Nigeria PLC has sustained its track record of providing quality products and being a leader in innovation in advanced sleep technology. The management of the company says customers and shareholders' interest will always be a priority. In Lagos, Kende Adebisi, NTA News.
NNPC Limited says it has in place a robust plan for the supply of petrol from mid-February to March 2023. Latest updates released Monday shows that NNPC Limited has a total of 1.8 billion litres of petrol stock, representing 805.35 million litres in all the land depot nationwide and 1 million litres on marine vessels, which is equivalent to 30.09 days sufficiency. An additional supply of 884 million litres is also expected into the country. For March 2023, a total of 2.3 billion litres of petrol is expected into the country, while about 2.5 billion litres, which is equivalent to 42 days sufficiency, will be the closing stock for the month under review. A statement by Garba Din Mohammed, Chief Corporate Communications Officer, is assuring motorists that it has adequate and sufficient volume and that the NNPC Limited, as the provider of energy security for the country, will continue to sustain availability of petroleum products across the country. Similarly, the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority has assured Nigerians that operations and loading depot have fully resumed following the restriction of movements during the recently concluded Presidential and National Assembly elections, which necessitated truck drivers to travel to exercise their civic duty. Consequently, the authority is working with other stakeholders to mitigate the slight tightness being experienced in the distribution of petrol. The authority's chief executive urged the public to note that the current stock sufficiency stands at 35.39 days for petrol. The authority continues to strive towards guaranteeing supply and distribution reliability nationwide and strongly advises against panic buying. Right, let's go on a break. We're back. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. The 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, is leading party leaders and other supporters on a protest march to INEC headquarters, Abuja. They are protesting alleged irregularities in the conduct of the 25th February 2023 presidential election. Atiku Abubakar and the PDP leadership are also joined by the Director General of Party's Presidential Campaign Council and Governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal, some PDP governors and members of the Presidential Campaign Organization in the peaceful march. We'll bring you full details in subsequent bulletin. The Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, has charged the Independent National Electoral Commission to improve on its performance in the 25th February 2023 presidential election and address the shortcomings and complaints raised by political parties and their candidates in future elections. This was part of resolutions reached after the Council's general meeting in Abuja. Let's hear more from Timothy Yusuf.
Election is the beauty of democracy and must be free, fair, credible, transparent, acceptable, inclusive and peaceful. IPAC is leveraging the saying to commend Nigerians for embracing peace after the presidential election and enjoined aggrieved political parties and their candidates to approach the court for redress.
We have increased our engagement with INEC, so that we will be able to get it right, and ensure that those innovations that INEC has brought to bear in terms of the processes and how election itself is going to be conducted before, during, after elections, so that people can now have more confidence in what INEC is doing.
The lapses noted in the February 25, 2023 Presidential and National Assembly election should be lessons for the March 11 Governorship and State Assembly election for INEC.
Democracy is a very serious business. It's not something that we treat with levity.
The Center for Transparency Advocacy, in its third preliminary report of the Presidential and National Assembly election, noted that the surge and enthusiasm shown by Nigerians in deciding who will lead them is worthy of commendation. Although some parties are aggrieved following the outcome of the exercise, the center appealed for restraints.
Violence of any mode should not be encouraged. We can only have one country that belongs to all of us.
The Election Observer Group urged INEC to up its game towards meeting the expectations of Nigerians in the March 11, 2023 governorship and state assembly election. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Nasarawa state government has warned that it will not fold its arms and allow some persons throw the state into religious crisis. Governor Abdullahi Sule gave the warning when he met with the leadership of the Christian Association of Nigeria and the Jama'atul Nasirul Islam on the need to promote tolerance leading to the governorship and House of Assembly elections. Aliyu Tijani reports.
Comments by some religious leaders instructing their members to vote in the next Saturday's governorship election along religious line, which is trending on social media, have triggered reaction and heightened tension in the state. Worried by the development and its consequences to the prevailing peace in the state, Governor Abdullahi Sule summoned meeting with leaders of Muslim and Christian communities in the state on the need to caution them and warn against any statement that will truncate peace in the state. Governor Sule says the state cannot afford religious crisis considering how adherents of the two major religions coexist peacefully for decades in the state. He says every eligible voter has the right to vote candidate of his choice, but religious leaders must not use sermon to converse vote for candidates seeking elected position. He urges them to preach peace and love to their members instead of hate and division.
We cannot allow politics to divide us. Winners will always come, and as we have always said, God is the only one who will decide who will be a leader.
Vote leadership of CAN and JNI described as unfortunate statement attributed to some religious leaders on voting along religious lines and promised to caution their members.
And some of these provocative videos and hate speeches, which he said we should let our followers to desist from such videos or hate speeches.
We condemn such provocative videos and caution all who would want to continue to desist.
In Lafia, Aliyu Tijani, NTA News.
Barely 6 days to the governorship and state houses of assembly polls, the Independent National Electoral Commission has been urged to fine-tune preparations for the exercise in line with the Electoral Act to improve on its performance based on the February 25, 2023 presidential election and address some of the shortcomings. This is from a vox pop conducted in Calabar Metropolis ahead of the March 11 polls. Let's hear from Oba Hysant.
Result of the presidential and national assembly polls continue to dominate discussions in the country even after the announcement of results. Most Nigerians are now having mixed feelings as to what becomes of the March 11 polls. However, respondents warned the electorate not to be worried, but to turn at embers.
Everything should be peaceful. It should be peaceful, no fight. We have to pray for that our leader. Anybody that God give us, it's our own. You know, leaders, we have to pray for it, not a fight. Tell our children to fight.
In the forthcoming election, we also have it peacefully, and whatever the results are, we'll take it as it comes. So we are hoping that there will be no crisis.
The respondents appealed to INEC and the security agencies to work toward perfecting the statutory responsibilities to the people. They expressed optimism that With the correction of the issue raised in the last elections, the 11th March election will be credible and hitch-free. In Calabar, Oba Hyacinth.
The Northern Alliance Committee of the 19 northern states has hailed the outcome of the 2023 presidential election that produced the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his vice Kashim Shettima. While congratulating winners of the presidential election, the committee said it is elated to see their preferred candidate emerged after rigorous campaigns and is confident Ahmed Bola Tinubu and his vice will no doubt tackle the challenges facing the country.
The aim of the briefing is to publicly convey our congratulations to the President-elect Senator Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu on his victory in the just concluded presidential election, reflect on the conduct and outcome of the election, which produced the results of the election and subsequently declared Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the winner of the election.
The majority of Northerners go with us, and they have given him the mandate.
And this victory means a lot to the Northerners, and we believe that his victory will contribute a lot to the development of the North and the country in general.
The group congratulated Nigerians for their resilience and INEC for the peaceful conduct, but advised that INEC takes into consideration suggestions made by stakeholders to improve the governorship election.
In the most equitable manner. The evidence of that is the acceptance of the people of the country.
The Northern Alliance is a pan-Northern group comprising notable politicians, diplomats, traditional rulers, and administrators. Next is Sports Update.